Today I have a brand new HP Envy x360 laptop. I'm going to open it up, show you how to do that. I'm going to do some big time upgrading on the inside. So let's get started. Hey guys, how's it going? Dale here. Today I have a brand new HP Envy x360 2-in-1 convertible laptop. We're going to do some upgrading on it. I'm going to open it up, show you how to do that, put the new parts in it. First I'm going to give you a quick overview of the laptop. It's a new model. It's got the Ryzen 5 4500U processor in it, 6-core processor, very fast. This model comes with 8 gigabytes of DDR4 memory and a 256 gigabyte NVMe SSD. It has a fingerprint sensor here, backlit keyboard, real nice feeling touchpad. It's got a 3-cell 51 watt-hour battery. Does really good on battery life. HP claims it's around 8-9 hours. It's got, of course, the AMD Radeon graphics, and it has the Wi-Fi 6. It's a nice little laptop. Let me quick show you over on this side here. We have the SD card slot. It's got a USB 3.1 port. Our power cord plugs in right here. And nothing in the front. Over on this side, we have a C-type USB 3.1, another USB port right here, and an HDMI port, and then we'll have our audio jack for earbuds, headphones, or external speakers. So that's the basics. So the first thing I have to do is I have to get it open here. Now the parts that I'm going to be putting in here is we're going to upgrade the NVMe 256 gigabyte SSD to a 1 terabyte. I'm using the Crucial model. It's the P5 NVMe. It's 1 terabyte M.2 drive. These are pretty fast drives. I use them quite a bit. They have the P2 and even the P1s, but the P5s I like the best. They cost a little more, but they work great. So we're going to be adding that. And currently it has 8 gigabytes of DDR4 memory. I'm going to upgrade that. I'm going to put in 2 16 gig DDR4 sticks. So for a total of 32 gigabytes of DDR4 and dual channel. So the customer just wants to beef it up a little bit, so that's what I'm going to do. Alright guys, before I open it up, I just want to show you the AC adapter. It's a 65 watt, 19.5 volt AC adapter. It's a pretty small little brick, so that's kind of nice, but it is a 65 watter. Alright, let's close the lid. Now, as in any project like this, guys, make sure you're working in an anti-static environment. Get a wristband or an anti-static mat or pad to work on. Ideally, my bench tops and floors in my shop are all anti-static, so I'm not concerned about it here. I'm all set. The first screw I'm going to take out on the bottom here is this one right here. It's a Torx head. It's a number 5 Torx. I'm using just a Torx bit in my little cordless screwdriver here. So I'm going to pop that out of there. Make sure you use good tools, guys, because if you strip this screw out here, you're going to booger it up and you're going to have a tough time trying to get it out. So I'm just going to unscrew this one. It's very small. Get it out of the way. Now, we're going to remove these adhesive rubber pads here on the bottom. There's screws underneath there that I believe are just Phillips head. So you got to be very careful. Try not to scratch it. You need a very sharp, pointy tool to get this started. So I'm going to try to get my tool under it here, just like that. Just gently peel it off. If you scratch it a little bit underneath here, it's not the end of the world because you're not going to be able to see it anyway once you put these back on. Try not to stretch it too much. It'll end up just a little bit longer, but you can still get it back on if you work it. So I'm going to, now underneath the front here, we have the 2 Phillips head screws right here that we have to remove. In the back here, we got to remove this one. Gently peel it off. Alright, just like that. Now with those out of the way, I'm going to take the Phillips screws. In the back you can see you got 6 screws, 3 here and 3 over here. These are quite simple to get out. I normally take these screws out ahead of time, but I wanted to just show you how to get to them and get them out. And then we're going to remove the bottom pan. And that is a little tricky on these. You have to be so careful. And just use a good quality Phillips screwdriver. I'm using a number 0. Phillips screwdriver with a good magnetic tip, but it's a number 0. Again, you don't want to strip out your screws. So that's the back. And I want another one in the front here. All right. So now I'm going to flip it back over this way, get our tools out of the way. Now I use these plastic Spudger tools. They work really well. I have a link down below where you can buy these online. They're super cheap. You can get a whole bag of them for just a couple of bucks. Now, actually, let me flip it back over. The easiest way I found to get this bottom off, it's very hard to see, but the seam where it meets the top palm rest area, it's unbelievably tight. You're not going to be wedging a tool in there. It's just, you know, without boogering it up. So I found back here by the hinge is usually a good place to start. So I'm going to get my spudge in there, and I apologize if my hand's in the way, but I'm going to get in this little tiny seam right here with my tool, hopefully. Actually, let me get this one. So just bear with me on this. You don't want to hurry. Okay, see, I got it. I got my tool under there. It's got it started. So I'm going to work along the back seam here, right here. Do the same thing. I'm going to be moving this around a lot. So now we got to start. That's just plastic from my tool. I'm not scratching it, guys. That's why you want to use something plastic, or that ain't going to scratch it. Once you get it going, it's not too hard. All right. Carefully along the front here, just put a little pressure up on it. All right. Now I'm going to go over on this side and do the same thing. Just got to take your time. All right, let me flip it around here, guys. Alright, so I think we're good. I got to finish the back here. Alright, so we got it broke loose now. So carefully just lift it off. Now we can get to the inside. So these are tightly confined in here. We have our battery here. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to disconnect the battery. It's right here on the motherboard. This plug is going to slide back out like that. So I'm going to take my little tool here, and let me spin this around actually. And I'm just going to gently get a hold of it here if I can, and just work it back. Sometimes they pull right out. There. All right, that was actually easy. Just pull that out, and as an added precaution, I'm going to lift the lid on it here, and I'm going to hit my power button a couple times just to discharge any residual juice that might be in there. All right, and always be careful of your screen, okay? You don't want to break that. So, over here is our NVMe drive underneath the shield. Underneath this one is our memory. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this off here, and these are a little tricky to get off sometimes. I have a very thin plastic tool that if you get down here, cameraman, you can see we got to lift this shield off here. It's pinched in these little clips around the perimeter here. And so I'm going to try to get underneath there if I can. Get that started. I start in a corner. It's a little stronger. If you just push in it like that, you're gonna bend the metal. You don't want to do that. So once we get it lifted up here, there's our RAM. I just kind of folded it back. So now these are, I'm going to remove the sticks that are in here. And these are just 4 gig sticks, 2 4s, total 8. So I'm going to get those out of the way. Just like that. And now I'm going to put in 2 16s, DDR4 2400. Alright, and these only go in, they're keyed, they only go in a certain way, or one way I should say. Get that out of the way. And then just kind of gently snap it in. Now, got to get this back on there, and these are a little tricky to line up. Back in the little notches. Once you get it in front of you and you're doing it yourself, you'll see what I mean. Just don't force it. And I got lucky on this one, it went down pretty easy. So we got that covered back up. Now we have to remove, there's a screw down in here for the shield that we have to take out. It's a very tiny little Phillips screw down, right down here. So I'm going to go ahead and get that out of the way. Get to our NVMe drive. Just one screw, I believe. I was hoping I didn't have to take that tape off there. Get out of there. That's our magnet. We don't need that. We don't need that. So, alright, I'm going to have to remove this tape here, guys. So let's just carefully pull that back. Hoping I could just flip that back. So there's our drive we're going to take out. Now, after I put the new parts in, I'm going to button it back up. I'm going to do a clean, fresh install of Windows 10, the 2004 edition, then get all the drivers and things that I need to complete it. So there's one screw that holds the SSD in there. It's an M.2 2280. Now we're just going to lift that up a little bit. Slide it back, get the old one out of the way, put in our really good crucial P5 NVMe. Just make sure it's in all the way. Oh, don't want to drop the screw. Been there, done that. Come on, guys. Sure that's lined up. Doesn't have to be too tight. Make sure everything looks good. And let's see if we can get our shield back on there. Make sure that lines up and it's not stressed on anything. I don't think it is. And put our one mounting screw back down here in the hole. It'll let me. Again, you don't want to torque those down too tight. Just make sure everything looks good. So make sure that's in all the way. Oh, actually, I think I can go a little bit more. Oh, grab the screw. Alright, so we got our new RAM in, we got our new solid state drive in there, our NVMe drive. We're ready to hook our battery back up right over here, and it's just going to slide right back in the same way it came out. But always be gentle on these wires and these connectors here. I'm just going to push it back in gently. Use my finger. So make sure you get it all the way back in. Nothing worse than getting it all buttoned back up and your battery wasn't plugged in all the way. So that looks pretty good. Alright. So I think we're ready to put our bottom back on. Now I'm not going to put all the screws back in until I get Windows installed on it before I totally button it up, just in case I have to adjust something or something didn't go the way as planned. So now you can gently just go around and snap this back in, but don't squeeze too hard on the lid because you got a screen behind there. Just want to get this kind of tucked back down in there, kind of work it around, and it's okay if it's just snapping back in place. Alright, so I'm going to get it open back up here. Again, I'm not too concerned. I'm going to double check everything once I'm done here. Alright, grab my power cord here. Sorry about getting my fat head in the way. Cameraman's going to plug that in for me. Alright, so we have a brand new drive in there with nothing on it, so we're going to do a clean install. And I'm going to use my USB installation drive for Windows 10. I have a video on how you create these. You just download the Windows 10 Media Creation Tool. It's free from Microsoft. I have a link down below where you can watch the video on how to make one of these. So I'm going to pop this in the USB port over here. Now, it should default to that when I boot up. Otherwise, I think we can hit, I believe it's F9 to get to the boot menu, but I'm going to go ahead and hit my power button right here and see what happens. Now, with the new memory in there, it's going to take a minute for it to read it, so don't panic when you turn it on for the first time. It's not going to post immediately. It might even tell me that I have to do a reboot or restart it, which is normal. So you have to be patient when you install new RAM and even the new drive. The BIOS is still looking for the old stuff. Alright, see, it says enter, it says CMOS reset, enter, reboot the system, which is what I want to do. So I'm just going to hit the enter key. That's totally normal. See if it'll boot off that flash drive. Alright, so now it's tiny, it's full HD, but there's it's booting out the flash drive. We're going to choose the top one there, Windows 10 64-bit. Just hit enter, that's all you got to do. This is going to go pretty quick. These clean installs do when you're working with solid state drives. There's our HP logo, which is good. So we're going to just hit the defaults on these. In my case, English United States for language. Hit next. We're going to click here on install now. Got our cord plugged in there. Sorry, the screen ain't very bright right now. I accept the terms. I'll hit next. I'm going to choose the custom option here. I want to see if my drive's in there, and there's my 1 terabyte SSD. Do nothing here except next, unless you want to partition it. So I'm going to let this go, guys. I'll be back in just a minute. When it's almost done, I'll walk you through the quick setup to get into Windows. So I'll be back in just a minute. Alright guys, we got all the installation files copied over, and we're at the first step here for language or region. I'm going to choose United States. And for my keyboard layout, yes or skip on additional layouts. You can always change this stuff later. Now I always choose I don't have internet when I'm doing these walkthroughs on these setups. It just goes quicker. That way Microsoft will make you create a Microsoft account to log in, and personally I don't like that. So I'm just going to put in user for now. No password on this one. And I always turn all this stuff off just for privacy reasons. You can change all these settings later in settings in Windows 10. But I'm just going to accept. And choose no on this. Not now. And again, you can change all that later. No big deal. Just want to get through the setup. This will take just a few moments. We're done with our flash drive. You can take that out once some files are copied over. But these crucial P5 M.2 NVMe drives perform really well. They're around 3,400 megabits a second. And the P2s are a little bit slower, but any solid state drive is going to be faster than a mechanical hard drive, obviously, which I do not like anymore, the hard drives. They're good just for storage, basically, but running apps and programs and booting off them, they're just, you get spoiled with solid state. They're very, very slow. But with any of these projects you do, guys, just make sure you have good quality tools so you're not stripping screws and scratching and bending and breaking and stuff, and take your time. Shouldn't be too much longer. All right, so we're there. So I'm just going to pop into Windows. I got to get drivers. Got to get all the Windows updates. So I'm going to go down to my start, or I'm just going to down here in task, or in the search, and type in task. And go open up our task manager here. And click on performance. I'll click on memory. And you can see we got 32 gigabytes of memory, 2666, 2 slots used. So we're good on our memory. And I'm just gonna go here real quick. And there's our 1 terabyte solid state drive, all locked and loaded. Now we can start getting our apps, our updates. I'm going to go to HP's website and download a couple of their drivers, because I just know on these HPs are a little fussy sometimes. So that's a nice little upgrade. I hope you have fun trying it, and I appreciate you watching. Check out more of my videos, and if you love it, give me a sub. If you like it, give me a like. Have a great day.